So today we will continue with our discussion on foreign investment. Okay, so we have already completed foreign direct investment and everything related to foreign direct investment, including FDI in retail, FDI in e-commerce, advantages, disadvantages, everything we have covered. So here we will be talking about portfolio investment. Okay, now what are portfolio investment? See, in this case, actually the investor purchases the securities from the foreign financial markets. Okay, but in this case, see, normally when you are purchasing securities from the financial markets, actually you will have some management control. To the extent of shareholding you have that management control or the voting rights. Okay, but in this case, if the foreigner is purchasing, they don't have the management control or voting rights. So basically they maintain an anonymous relation with the company. Okay, the securities are purchased from a foreign financial markets. Okay, that is what securities purchased from foreign financial market. Okay, so no management or management control, no voting rights in this case. Now let's look into some terms. Okay, see, actually the money invested in foreign financial markets are generally called as hot money. Why it is known as hot money? You can see here it refers to the foreign capital that can be withdrawn at a short notice. For example, NRI deposit, short-term credit, etc. Okay, so this can be withdrawn at any time. In case of FDI, it was not hot money because that is a kind of permanent investment. Okay, it will be there for a long time. But here, in case of PFI, portfolio investment, or FIIs, okay, it can be withdrawn at any point of time. So that is why it is known as hot money. Now, what is Tobin tax? This can be a prelims question. It is imposed on inflow or outflow of foreign portfolio investment to discourage their short-term flows. Okay, so the tax which is imposed by the government on the inflow or outflow of this foreign portfolio investment is what? Tobin tax. Okay, basically to discourage their short-term flows. Okay, see, if all the countries are adopting the Tobin tax, it is okay, it is acceptable. But if some countries are adopting, and then they will be in a disadvantageous position because they won't get any investments, okay, because of this. Okay, now let's try to understand portfolio investment. Okay, so under this we can divide into portfolio investment scheme and euro issues. I'll be discussing about this in detail, and after that we'll be talking about euro issues. Euro issues include the American depository receipt, global depository receipts, everything, Indian depository receipts, everything will be covered in detail so that you'll understand all those concepts. Okay, but now let's look into this, what all things will come under this. Here FIIs will come. Okay, that is a foreign institutional investor. Then QFI will come, qualified foreign investor. Then you have NRIs. Okay, so under euro issues we'll be talking about GDR, we will talk about ADR, so global depository receipt, American depository receipt, Indian depository receipt also we'll discuss along with this. We'll also discuss foreign currency convertible bonds. That is also a kind of portfolio investment. So all these are actually portfolio investment. Why it is a portfolio investment, I'll tell you, because actually Indian companies are going to get money. Okay, so that is why it is also classified under portfolio investment. We'll discuss that in detail later. Okay, now see, we'll discuss about this three now. What is the major difference between these two categories? Here in this case, a foreigner is buying the share of Indian company from Indian stock exchange. Okay, but in this case, actually the Indian company is listed in some other stock exchange, and from there the foreigner can buy. That is the difference. Okay, so here a foreigner is buying from Indian stock exchange in the first case. Here the foreigner is buying from the foreign stock exchange. Okay, so that means Indian company have to be listed in some other stock exchange through ADR, GDR, etc. If it is in America, American depository receipt, otherwise it is in general called as global depository receipt. If some companies from abroad doing the same thing in India, we call it as Indian depository receipt. Everything will be discussed. Okay, so let's now quickly discuss about this FIIs. So if we need to buy share from BSE, okay, now the foreign institutional investor can buy. Okay, the QFI can buy, NRIs can buy. Okay, now if a foreigner want to buy a share, an individual cannot come and buy the share. What an individual can do is, this foreigner can approach this foreign institutional investor, FII, and then through FII, a foreigner can buy the share. See, why through FIIs the foreigners are allowed to buy the share, not individually? Because it is very difficult to handle the individual cases. If there is any issues, if there are any problems, it is very difficult to take action against the individual, or it is very difficult to handle the individuals, foreign individuals. Okay, so it will be easy to handle the institution. That's why the foreigners are allowed to buy the share from Indian Stock Exchange, okay, or any foreign financial markets, but this in our case it is through FIIs. Okay, now you can see here FIIs. What are FIIs? These are institutions or entities. Okay, so these are institutions. That's why institutional investor. For an individual is investing, it is an investor, a normal investor, retail investor, but this is institutional investor. Okay, FIIs. And if it is a foreign institution, foreign institutional investor. In general institution, institutional investor. Like financial institutions, international organization, quasi-government bodies, sovereign wealth fund. China is having a huge sovereign wealth fund, and they have maintained this sovereign wealth fund from their excess forex reserve. Okay, they have a huge forex reserve. A part of that forex reserve they have kept as their sovereign wealth fund, and for what they are using it, they are actually using it to invest in foreign financial market. And if you see, most of the bonds of US is actually bought by China through their sovereign wealth fund. Okay, so half of American debt is actually related to China. Okay, is actually to China. So foreign institutional investor. QFIs are individuals or groups resident in a foreign country which is compliant with FATF. I'll be briefly talking about what is FATF. In fact, that has to be a separate discussion. We'll be covering it as part of current affairs. And signatory to IOSCO's multilateral MOU. Now, what is FATF? FATF is actually Financial Action Task Force. What is IOSCO? International Organization of Securities Commission. Actually, SEBI follow IOSCO. Okay, IOSCO, International Organization for Securities Commission. Now, if you remember, in one of our previous lecture, we have talked about Basel norms. Okay, so there we have discussed about Bank for International Settlement, BIS, and then I told you BIS is actually the bank of central banks. Okay, so in case of India, if you see, there are a lot of banks, and all the banks are controlled by RBI. Okay, so RBI is the bank of banks. Okay, and then what is BIS? BIS is actually the bank of central banks. That means RBI is actually following BIS. Here, similarly, the stock exchange is actually controlled by the markets, and the secondary market and all will be controlled, primary market and stock exchange, and everything will be controlled by SEBI. Okay, and SEBI is actually following IOSCO's guidelines. Okay, not only SEBI, all the financial market regulators of all the countries are actually following IOSCO. Okay, International Organization for Securities Commission. So QFIs are those individuals who are resident in a foreign country which is compliant with FATF and signatory to IOSCO's multilateral MOU. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Hot money, why it is known as hot money? It can be taken back anytime. Tobin tax, which is imposed on any portfolio investment so that you can prevent that short-term withdrawal. Okay, then we have discussed about what is FIIs and QFIs. Okay, now see how it is actually working out. If a foreigner want to buy a share, let's suppose the share of TCS. Okay, BSE has listed the share, let's suppose TCS, and what is going to happen is FII, foreign institutional investor, can buy the share. I told you it is an institutional investor. Institutional investor means institution is the investor here, and since it is a foreign institution, it is a foreign institutional investor, FII. Okay, so FII will buy the share, and let's suppose a foreigner want the share of TCS. Foreigner will approach the FII. Okay, so they will give the money, whatever it is required, and FIIs will issue participatory notes. Okay, so the share is with whom? Share is actually with FIIs. Okay, which they have actually bought from the BSE or NSE or Indian Stock Exchange, and they will issue participatory notes to the foreigner. So now in that way, foreigner will give the money, and that money will actually reach to this company. Okay, anyway, you are actually getting the money. Indian company is getting the money, and this participatory notes are actually a derivative security. Now, what do you mean by derivative security? It is actually issued on the basis of a security. Okay, you can see PN is actually issued against a security. What is that security? The share is there. Share is there with FII, and participatory note is actually issued against that share. So it is a derivative security. Derivative security means issued against a security. Okay, so PN is actually issued against a security. What is that security? This is a share. So participatory notes are a derivative security. Okay, let's so you can take down this definition also. Participatory notes. Okay, these are derivative securities. These are derivative securities. Derivative securities issued by FII, okay, to foreign investors against the underlying securities of domestic companies. Okay, so what is the security that they have? That is actually the underlying security of the domestic company. Here we are talking about TCS, the share of TCS. Okay, now it is known as derivative security. I hope you understood the reason. Derivative security means it is issued against a security, that is against the share. Okay, now QFI is done, FII is done. Let's move on to this. Okay, see, there was a committee in 2013, KM Chandrasekhar committee. On the recommendations of the committee, SEBI has merged FII, their sub-account that is PN, and QFI into a single class of investor, namely portfolio investor. Okay, so foreign portfolio investor, FPI, foreign portfolio investor. So now you can see here, we have discussed this three cases. So these two are actually merged and they became foreign portfolio investor. Okay, QFI and FII merged and they together called as foreign portfolio investor. Portfolio investment is different. Okay, PFI is different, FPI is different. So you don't want to have any confusion. Okay, PFI is portfolio investment, FPI is foreign portfolio investment. Okay, let's look into the next point. FPI are classified into three categories. What are they? The category 1. Okay, so let's look into the three categories. Okay, so category 1 FPI, it is actually low risk. It is actually low risk. It is actually on the basis of the risk. Okay, low risk means you can see examples: international organizations. Okay, quasi government bodies. Okay, these are examples. Okay, so what about category 2? Category 2 FPI. Category 2 FPI is actually moderate risk. Okay, moderate risk. You can see here mutual funds, insurance companies, okay, insurance companies, etc. Okay, so these are category 2. Now what about category 3? That is high risk. You can see hedge funds. Okay, so examples are hedge funds. Okay, we have discussed that in the capital market module already, so I'm not getting into the details of it. So this is the high risk category. So actually the FPIs are classified into three categories: category 1 low risk, category 2 moderate risk, and category 3 high risk. Now next point is KYC norms for FPI are risk based. Okay, so the KYC norms are risk based means it will be very liberal for which category? Category 1, where the risk is very low, and it has to be more rigid for category 3, where the risk is more. Okay, so KYC norms, that is on the basis of the risk associated with that particular category. Next point, there is an individual and aggregate ceiling for investment in a company are 10 and 24% of the share capital of a company respectively. Okay, so individual ceiling is kept as 10%, and the group ceiling or the aggregate, the total ceiling is actually fixed as 24%. You can understand like this: individual ceiling and aggregate means total I'm talking about. Okay, so in case of FPI is what we are discussing. In case of NRI we will discuss separately. See, FPI means already we have discussed that three branches: FII, QFI. FII, QFI is mixed and merged to FPI. Then NRI is there. So FPI means FII and QFI earlier together, separately NRI. Now here individual ceiling is what? 10%. That means the maximum share that can be bought by an FPI of a particular company is 10%. TCS suppose issued 1 crore share. 10% of it can be bought by a single person. Okay, that is individual. That means 10 lakh share. Okay, that is, if 1 crore share is issued, 10 lakh share can be bought by individual. What about total FPI? I mean, talking about all the people, all the foreigners who are investing, it has to be 24%. It cannot be more than 24%. So in the company TCS, if you talk about the total FPI, it should be 24%, and it should be less than 24%. It cannot be more than 24%. In case of NRI, individual is 5%, and NRI can invest up to 5% individual, and aggregate if you take, it is 10%. So I hope this ceiling is clear for all of you. Individual and aggregate ceiling is fixed both for FPI and NRI. FPI means you don't want to have any confusion. We have already discussed it. It is actually QFI and FII merged as per the Chandrasekhar committee report. Okay, now let's look into the next topic, which is very important topic. Actually, most of the students are preparing this without actually knowing what is the real concept. Okay, so that is euro issues. Now what are they? It refers to issue of securities by a company in a foreign country. See, I have a company in India, let's suppose TCS actually issuing security in India, IPO's initial public offer to mobilize the fund in the beginning. Later, if they want to mobilize the fund, they'll go for FPO, that is follow-on public offer. Okay, so that is actually done by an Indian company in India. Now, an Indian company, if they want to raise funds from abroad, okay, see, in the Indian share market itself through FPI they can do that, but instead they can actually list the company in their stock exchange, in a foreign stock exchange, okay, through this euro issues, and that is what we are actually discussing. So let's suppose this Indian company is listed in the foreign stock exchange, and then the money is actually mobilized. Okay, the forex will come to India, and that is what euro issues, that is what we are actually trying to understand. It refers to issue of securities by a company in a foreign country. Okay, Indian company in a foreign country, they are issuing security there. Now GDR, what is GDR? Let's suppose TCS, okay, let's take this company. TCS want to issue security in a foreign country. So what the TCS need to do is, TCS have to approach the depository bank in that foreign country. Depository bank, they facilitate all these things. Okay, in India's case, if somebody want to do this in India, or an Indian company, if they want to list in India, or if they want to issue the securities in India, they have to approach the merchant bank, and they have to do the same procedure. So the merchant bank in foreign countries, what we call as a depository bank. Okay, so TCS have to approach this depository bank, okay, of that particular country, for example Lehman Brothers, and they will issue GDR. They will issue GDR in terms of dollar. Okay, and the foreign investor can buy this GDR. Okay, so GDR is actually issued against a security. What is that security? It is a share. So I can call GDR as also a derivative security, because GDR is actually issued against a share. Okay, against a security, the security of the company. Okay, so GDR is actually bought by the foreigner. So ultimately what will happen, the fund will go to the company. So the company anyway is getting forex, company anyway is getting money. Okay, so this company will get money, and it's a kind of PFI only. It's a kind of PFI. Okay, now see, after the foreigner bought this GDR, it is actually, after this GDR issued, it will be listed in their stock exchange. Now this GDR can be bought and sold. Okay, so let's look into the definition. These are derivative securities. GDR, global depository receipts. These are derivative securities issued by overseas depository banks against the underlying shares of domestic companies. Okay, you see here, derivative securities, that is a keyword. Against what? Issued by overseas depository banks, okay, that I have told you here, against the underlying shares of domestic companies. TCS share, those could be traded in foreign stock exchanges. Okay, foreign stock exchanges. Now what is American? Next is American depository receipt. What is American depository receipt? If it is done in USA, if it is done in America, it is American depository receipt. Okay, if the company TCS want to issue their securities in America, so what they have to do, they have to approach the depository bank of US, and then they will issue ADR, American depository receipt, and the US citizen, US people, the foreigner actually can buy this ADR. Ultimately the forex will come to this company, the company will get money. It is also a kind of PFI, and after the issuance of ADR, it will be listed in US stock exchange. Okay, exactly the same thing will happen in case of IDR. IDR is Indian depository receipt. What is IDR? If a foreign company want to issue securities in India, they will, so foreign company, any company, company X want to issue securities in India, they will have to approach the depository bank in India. What is that? It is a merchant bank. Okay, so they will issue IDR. Okay, and the Indians can buy this IDR. That means a foreign company is actually listed in India and Indians are buying the share of that particular foreign company. So they will be getting money from Indians, okay, by issuing their securities in India. So that is what IDR. So if it is done in US, it is ADR. In general, we call it as GDR, Global Depository Receipt. Why it is known as Euro issues? It is actually US company started this issuing the securities in Europe, okay. US company started by issuing the securities in Europe. So that's why it is known as Euro issues. So GDR in general, ADR if it is in US, IDR in case of India, and this is common with all the countries. Okay, if you want to issue the securities in a particular country X, you have to contact that particular depository bank. You have to get that GDR. Okay, and this GDR can be bought and sold in their country stock exchange. Okay, so the advantage of the foreign companies, they'll get the money. So if you see here, participatory notes and GDR both look almost same and both are derivative securities, okay, but which one is more stable? If you ask me what is more stable, actually GDR is more stable, because GDR is actually very formal. Okay, you are in connection with the depository bank, okay, and it is very formal. Every procedure and every process has been in a very formal and systematic way. But in case of participatory note, it is FIIs, okay. So the authenticity of FIIs itself is actually questioned. Who's buying and all? There is a big anonymous relation between the company and the investor. Okay, so GDR is much more stable compared to participatory note, even though both are almost same. Anyway, both are actually a source of funding for the company. Now in case of GDR, in India it is actually regarded as a kind of FDI, because I told you, because of this advantage. And you know, in case of participatory notes, in case of FIIs or the other PFI that we talked about, you don't have a voting right, okay. But in case of this, the depository bank actually can cast the vote. Okay, let's suppose 20% share is there with the depository bank. Okay, depository bank on behalf of the foreigner, they can cast the vote, okay, in that decision making of the company. So 20% share means they can have that much capacity of voting power. So I hope it is clear. So it is broadly regarded as FDI, Global Depository Receipts in India. Okay, now let's look into foreign currency convertible bonds. These are convertible debentures. So debentures we have already discussed in the context of India, okay, and convertible debentures also we have discussed. Initially it was debentures, then later you can convert it into share of that company. If the company, in the beginning you may be reluctant to buy the share because you don't know the scope and the future of the company, but later if you see that the company is doing good, you might have bought the debenture and you have an option to convert that into shares of the company. Here it is foreign currency convertible debentures. There is no difference. It is a convertible debenture issued by a company in a foreign country. This is actually issued in a foreign country through overseas depository bank. Everything is done through this depository bank. Okay, it is in a foreign country. That is why foreign convertible bonds. So it's like this: FCCB, let's say $100, 5 years. Okay. So this is a face value which is written in the debenture. When you are getting it, you might be getting that when you are selling this or when you are issuing this, you may be getting around 92, 93, etc. So this difference is actually the earning of that person who is buying this debenture. Okay. Now the company is actually promising, let's suppose this TCS. Company is actually promising after 5 years, I'll be paying you $100. Okay. Now suppose this is from 2014 to 19. So in 19 the company is supposed to pay $100. Now if the foreigner sees that the company is doing good, the foreigner can actually convert this into GDR, okay, and it can be bought and sold in the stock exchange. It is almost like share, okay, so it can be bought and sold in the stock exchange. Otherwise, what is the problem? The company need to pay back this $100 and it will be a big burden. It is not only 100, it may be 100 crores or whatever it is. It will be a big burden for the company at that time, especially in the context of, you know, if the rupee is depreciating. Let's suppose in 2014 when this agreement was there, the dollar was the dollar is having actually value of, let's say, 45. Now it is around 67. So as per calculation, you are supposed to pay, the company is expecting that you're supposed to pay around, you see $100 means around 4,500. is what the company is expecting, and now the company is supposed to pay 6,700. That's a huge burden. Around 50% extra you are supposed to pay. 50% interest you can never pay, right? 50% extra you are paying. 2,200 extra you are paying. That is around 50%. Already there is an interest. Already there is an interest because the company is getting around 92, and company is promising that they will pay around 100. So that 8 is actually the earning of that investor. Now, because of depreciation, nobody is actually gaining. Okay, because of depreciation, even the company is not gaining, investors also not gaining. 50% extra the company have to pay. It's a huge burden. So instead they have an option to convert into GDR. That's about foreign currency convertible bonds. So we have done with all this. We have talked about PFI. We have talked about the 3 types, okay, the 2 types, and then I have told you, as per Chandrasekhar committee, we have merged FIIs and QFI into FPI, foreign portfolio investment. Then NRI is there, and then individual ceiling, aggregate ceiling, etc. we have discussed. We have talked about euro issues, okay, a company issuing securities in the foreign country. That's what euro issues. Okay, and it's a kind of portfolio investment because the company is actually getting the money and getting the forex. So that's about our discussion. FDI, regarding FDI, we have completed the discussion. We have done a lot. FII, this much only we need to discuss, and some of the other concepts that we have discussed here, somewhere I have touched upon already. We have covered in some other module. That's why I'm not getting into the details of it. Okay, next module, next topic will be foreign trade policy and special economic zone. So if you have any doubt, you can get in touch with me. This is my Instagram ID. Okay, you can get in touch with me in this. Any question, anything related to UPSC preparation, especially sociology or GS, okay, essay writing, anything, you can get in touch with me. Okay, see you.